child, things will get brighter. Then bring it down hard.
What's going on, everyone? J-Buck here, and we're going to be breaking down everything in Netflix's latest psychological thriller miniseries, Dear Child. Full-on story spoilers, the twist and turn ending, a few comparisons to the novel it's based on, and of course our reaction and review of this latest Gone Girl meets Room meets Orphan Netflix series. Thank you so much for clicking this. Let me see your hands as we get into Netflix's latest psychological thriller miniseries, Dear Child. So Dear Child is based on a novel by the same name, which I'll give you a heads up, is drastically different from this series, and I'll touch on some of those differences later, but the Netflix miniseries opens with a woman, young girl, and boy living in an enclosed building, feels very much like a Fallout bunker, while a man counts his steps to where they're at and checks their hands in some sort of greeting ritual. But in a quick flash, the same scared woman is seen running from the building into a nearby forest and is hit by a car as she screams for them to stop. Now, she's in an ambulance with the same young girl from earlier, and we can assume that this is a mother and daughter combo, and the pair are taken to the hospital. At this hospital, these two are revealed to be Lena and Hannah, which kicks off several different things. Obviously, a police investigation into the hit-and-run incident, complications with Lena because Hannah had told the nurses that Lena's blood type was AB negative, however it was not, and a middle-aged detective, Gerd, reads the description of the woman caught in the hit and run, calling two older people who we find out are Matthias and Karen. Now these two are a bit frantic by Gerd's call, as we discovered later that their daughter was abducted 13 years ago, and the Lena in the hospital matches her description perfectly. Everyone rushes down there for answers, but this Lena is not there, Lena, causing a scene at the hospital, and honestly, more questions than answers. However, the biggest shocker is when Matthias and Karen see the young girl, Hannah. They both break down calling her Lena because Hannah looks identical to their Lena at that age. But how can this be? Hannah is the daughter to the Lena that they claim is not their daughter. So the whole setup at this point is mystery woman in the hospital waking to claim that she was kidnapped and held captive with the young mystery girl, and a mystery boy is still at the compound where they were being held. Of course, this spirals out with half reveals, learning that the Lena in the hospital is actually a woman named Jasmine Grass. What? While Hannah pulls a Damien from The Omen, whispering threats and promises to Jasmine about Papa while handing her a shard of glass.
He is always with you.
We later discover that this is from a snow globe Jasmine smashed against her captor's head in order to escape. Now that the Lena Jasmine identity mystery is solved, three big things thread out from this. Detective Kurt assembles a team to find the missing boy, Hannah is taken to a children's hospital, while Matthias essentially is blinded by the whole situation, urging Karen that Hannah should come and live with them, and Jasmine returns to her old life, but is haunted by her kidnapper. First, Detective Kurt's team finds some clothing ripped on a fence outside of a decommissioned military compound, rush in without taking the necessary precautions, and the whole place is booby-trapped with landmines.
My leg!
Could not be more appropriate, as she brings in the bomb disposal unit and is able to find the compound Jasmine had mentioned. The young boy, Jonathan, is found hiding under the bed and the kidnapper dead on the ground, with his face completely messed up with dozens of lacerations. Gerd informs Jasmine of these discoveries, but she pleads she never stabbed or cut the kidnapper, only hit him with the snow globe. Now, days later, after an autopsy, things get weirder as it's revealed that the lacerations were post-mortem, and the 3D scanned predictive model of the kidnapper's face doesn't look like anyone either Jasmine or Hannah have seen. So who the heck is this international man of mystery?
It's a man.
On the other hand, Hannah seems to be playing the nurses, Matthias, everyone, honestly playing into the fact that there is more to Papa's plan, aka the kidnapper, claiming he is watching her through the security monitors, continually telling Jonathan to stick to Papa's plan, and if not, he'll be stuck in the children's hospital forever, never seeing Mama again. Like I said, Matthias is getting far too attached to Hannah, potentially being his granddaughter, so he takes her back to live with him and Karen, but not before learning that Hannah and Jonathan both share Alina's DNA, which is great. However, the father's DNA differs.
What a twist!
The detectives wonder if this is some sort of sick network of criminals questioning and gathering DNA from people who may have known Lena 13 years ago prior to her disappearance. This reveals an ex-boyfriend of Lena's, Florian, to be the DNA match for Hannah, meaning that Lena was pregnant before she was kidnapped, but an even bigger mystery revolving around Jonathan's father. A few more days pass as the detectives slowly discover various other bodily remains buried around the military compound, each a missing woman in her early 30s, similar to both Lena and Jasmine, meaning that whoever was doing this was living some sick fantasy game of dress-up make-believe, as each was a stand-in for the original Lena, and Jasmine happened to be the only one to actually escape. Speaking of Jasmine, she is beyond paranoid about everything that's happened, hearing voices from her kidnapper and acting a bit erratic as though someone is watching her every move. It gets so bad that she even dyes her hair back blonde, wearing similar clothing that she was forced to wear in the compound when she was having to play the part of Lena. All of these moving parts leads us to a bevy of final reveals, showing a flashback to the night Jasmine escaped. Remember, that hit and run that started this whole investigation? Well, the person who ran into Jasmine turned out to be a man named Jasper, the dead man that they found with the cut-up face in the compound. Their kidnapper discovered Hannah and Lena leaving that evening, created this elaborate plan to both save Jasmine, but also get their family back together for one big unit, which is why Hannah keeps alluding to seeing Papa again and being a big girl whenever pieces of the plan fall into place. The kidnapper reveal may have been the most out of left field reveal because it is Lars Ragnar.
Who?
Yeah, the son of Ragnar Sr., who owned the security company Ragnar & Son. Again, way out there because the stench was never coming from his corner, but it explains why Hannah was saying Papa was watching, pointing to the security cameras, and why Jasmine felt so paranoid because there were hidden cameras throughout her apartment. This explains in present day who the creepy man in the RV watching the TV screens is. But if we flash back to how all of this got started, Lars's mother had left him and his father when he was a young boy, so he never got to live the stereotypical mother-father-son family dynamic lifestyle, instead living with his grandparents. As an adult working at the security company, he was called to Lena's parents' house. She was dog-sitting for them and accidentally locked herself outside. Lars was the one that was called to help with the security incident and was smitten with Lena solely because she reminded him of his mother he had never had, which resulted in him kidnapping her and starting this fake family of his own. So yes, Lena was pregnant before, which explains Florian being Hannah's father, but Jonathan is the biological son of Lars, and Lars was trying to have a third child with Lena named Sarah. But Lena and Sarah had unfortunately passed away due to childbirth fever, a fever usually due to an infection of the placental site within the uterus. Lars refused to call an ambulance, instead letting Lena perish, and then went off to find replacements to mend the familial unit and have his third child with Jasmine. Lars is who picked up Hannah and Jasmine on their way to start this new life in a new bunker, but Jasmine, now learning of this full story, tells him that she's got to use the restroom, and they pull off onto a beach exit. As she's squatting, it's revealed that she kept the snow globe shard of glass, hiding it in a pad. She had done this with turning off the lights earlier in this series, and now stabs Lars in the neck, finally ending the torment and manipulation. This beach happens to be the same one that Hannah had heard about in Lena's stories with the Candy Cane Lighthouse. Hannah and Jasmine wade into the waves, celebrating the sigh of relief that they are no longer under Papa's control. Detective Gerd and Matthias show up and take in the same feeling of finally solving the case after 13 years and discovering the remains of their daughter Lena, whom Lars had buried in the garden of the military compound. And it's all shown that everyone is now happy, feeling relief, and no longer dealing with the torment and fear that they had to live with. Now, I didn't read the entire novel this is based on, but after reading a brief summary, there are quite a few differences between this series and the novel. Some big ones are the fact that Matthias is much more of a headstrong, chaotic grandfather, interfering with both sides, and is the one who brings Lars Ragnar into the mix. Lars is a happily married journalist in the novel, rather than that of a security company owner, and has a love affair with Lena first before kidnapping her due to the fact that his wife offed herself because she knew of the love affair. So everything seems much more personal and I guess plausible in the novel, especially with the relationship amongst Lars and Lena having been previously established. After Lena is safely locked up, Lars launches a smear campaign against her, regularly publishing detailed accounts of her life about being a drug-addicted party girl so she wouldn't be missed. Again, only a brief summary that I looked over in the novel, but if you out there have read the novel, please let me know in the comments how these two compare, how major plot points are maybe missing. I'm curious how much of a difference there is. Like I mentioned earlier, this really had elements of Gone Girl, Room with Brie Larson, and heck, even Orphan mixed with The Omen's Damien in regards to some of the stuff Hannah was pulling, and I kinda dug it. I'm a big fan of psychological thrillers, so this slow trickle of reveals I was fully on board for from episode to episode. That's what worked the best, honestly. The carrot being dangled in front of me, wanting to know where the heck things were going and what was actually happening and who could actually be trusted. I'll spare you the extensive list of who I thought was behind it because my guess has changed about 12 times through this series. But yeah, well-crafted structure of jumping back and forth from the present and past without giving away too much. I'm going to give Dear Child a 7 out of 10. The biggest thing that missed the mark was the convoluted and rushed final episode. Sure, the reveals and everything add up, but it's all a bit murky of who, what, why, how, and what, just all of it. I guess some of the motivations were never fully revealed. One big thing is why Lena/Jasmine was so under the control of her kidnapper. The way she was acting, this dude watched straight out of Jessica Jones with Kilgrave's persuasive power set. The atmosphere, tone, acting, character motivations all worked, but I am a man of logic, and some of that was sorely missing. I'm assuming, again, the novel covers my bugaboos more in detail, but the series leaves a glaring hole for hardcore psychological thriller, and heck, even mystery fans. Anyway, those are my thoughts and everything on Dear Child. What did you think of this latest Netflix psychological thriller miniseries? A twist and turn journey, or was this a jumbled mess by the end of things? I'd love to hear anything and everything in the comments below. Also, giveaway competitions have started up, as we'll be giving away 3 copies of The Flash on the 15th of September. And all you gotta do to get a chance of winning this is like this video, make sure to subscribe with the notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on Dear Child. We picked the comments at random, and the winners of our last giveaway are on screen right now. So if that's you, message me on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at my respective handle. And if you haven't, check out all of my other social media accounts, from my Shorts and Clips YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, everything. Please and thank you. We'll be back tomorrow with Apple TV Plus's The Changeling coverage. Great series, big recommend. But that is everything I got for you for Dear Child and Netflix. Stay tuned and peace out, dudes. You're the best. Bye-bye.